Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us for this week's AMA. Really glad you could join us. Got a lot of registrations into the AMA, so we're excited about that. Probably might be the largest AMA we've done to date. One of the things I want to do is apologize to you on our technical difficulties we had with the Zoom webinar platform earlier, so we had to push it out till 3. If you can't make this, you're obviously watching me say these words in the recorded version on YouTube. That being said, I give one shout out because it entertained me, and that is to the guy who registered as Axel Foley to the webinar. Congrats to you, my friend. I am going to hand it over to Ryan, who's going to go through the legal and real quickly run through the agenda of the AMA before sending it off to Boris Johnson with some weekly update research. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Alex. This is just a reminder that all content provided by Trade the Chain is for informational purposes only. Absolutely none of this is investment advice and should not be construed as such. Do not listen to us.
Ever.
No, ever. All right, great. So what we're going to go over today, in brief, Josh with some weekly research from TheTie, platform growth, new community ambassadors. Alex is going to go over the 1-hour price projection since the community's been asking about that a lot. Then we'll have Weston's trading corner, then Nichol's trading gems. And then we're going to talk about something we've been teasing for quite a while, but we're saving the best for last. Before we get into any of that though, Bojo with the research.
Can I just say one thing? Did we just give Trading Nichols a nickname to his thing called Nichols Gems?
Yes.
I think so.
Okay. All right.
It works.
This is a work in progress. It doesn't have to stick. But we should really let Josh do his research because we know he has to jump soon.
Yeah. But don't forget, members, everybody throw in questions while we're doing this if you have any questions. Okay, thank you. Boris,
yeah, please.
I can't share my screen, unfortunately.
So Alex is fixing that. I'll let everyone know, as Alex said, please feel free to ask any questions you want. You can ask them in the chat. You can ask them in the Q&A. We're here to answer them for you. It doesn't matter what they are. You can even ask them in Slack. Now that we got that out the way, come on, Vitalik. What do you got for us?
All right, hold on.
Marjorie.
And come on, people, there's more entertaining than Celsius's AMA.
Oh my God.
All right, guys. So a couple of things. Just want to point out a couple, things that seem to be moving the market right now. Interesting things. One is balancer. I mean, right now everything is moving the market. Literally any piece of news around assets seems to be moving the market, even if generally it wouldn't move. So I know we've shared a lot of research and data on which SIG devs move the market. And broadly speaking, right now, any piece of news moves the market. It feels like people are just, looking for reasons to invest in things. In news or any specific significant development is a great reason. And so these are actually real things, but two things we noticed this week was, Balancer raising capital. I actually took this screenshot like earlier today. And I think Balancer is like up way more than what it's at now. I can check really quick. Balancer is at 51. So yeah, about a little higher than this. So Balancer raised some capital, caused the price to, go up from about $30 to $50. Another thing we noticed is IOTA had a giant week. They had a lot of significant pieces of news kind of stacked on top of each other with the release of oracles. They announced a partnership with Dell and a few other things. But some of the cooler insights we wanted to share with you, right now DeFi is one of the hottest things. And so we took a look at the average return per day of the week for DeFi tokens. And, we found that, broadly speaking, weekends look real good for DeFi. Certain assets just perform every day, like Aave, Uni, and Sushi are just like, they're winners. They've been winners. But broadly speaking, Friday seems to be really strong, performance days for DeFi. And this is the last 100 days. This is about, 12 or 13 Fridays. And, we can see here, Aave has an average return of about 5% on Fridays, Wi-Fi 4%, 0x 4.4%, Sushi 6.3%, Synthetics 4.6%, Rune 4.7%, and Kyber Networks 3.4%. I mean, most DeFi assets seem to be performing very well on Fridays.
Gosh.
And that doesn't mean that trend's, yeah, go for it.
I was going to say, do you know why Friday seems to be the best, or weekends seem to be the best? Is it just lower trading volumes because institutions are out and it's more retail driven?
I think most of these things are retail driven anyways. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I necessarily have an explanation, but we do like to track this data, and we'll start sharing more with you guys on days of the week and trends and times of day as well. Like, I think one thing that a lot of people have noticed are that assets perform a lot better during the day than overnight. In Asian hours, things seem to sell off a little bit. So I'm not 100% sure. I mean, maybe people are just excited going into the weekend and, throw their money at, DeFi tokens. I don't know if I necessarily have an answer, but I think it's, a discussion that everybody should have in the chat. And I'd love to kind of hear everybody's, thought process here. And if there's any other things that you want us to take a look at in this regard, like hours of the week, types of tokens, things. I mean, we like to focus on DeFi now just because DeFi is so hot, but, there's lots of different things we can look at. Another thing we're looking at is, what are people actually tweeting about? And look at how much DeFi kind of skyrocketed with the launch of Uniswap. DeFi has been super hot. It seems like everything is, near all-time highs. Web3 things, like basic attention token, Ocean, Chainlink aren't, all that hot. But I mean, if you look at how much currencies, like the big currencies like Bitcoin, XRP, Litecoin, Stellar, they're doing pretty strong. Smart contracts as well. But DeFi seems to be picking back up. So just interesting to see what people are talking about. And it looks like exchange tokens are actually on track to have the best month out of any type of asset in terms of conversations. And that's led by BNB. Conversations have been skyrocketing.
Very cool. Thanks for this. And this is something that our members can have access to as well. Is this something we can share with them?
Yeah, I can. I'll drop it in our chat and you can share it with everybody.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, VeTie.
Later, Josh. Thank you for stopping by, my friend.
Does anybody have any questions on anything I just shared? I got 2 minutes.
Doesn't look like it.
Here we go.
Oh, here's one. Here we go. What do we got here? So Clay Rich is asking, people say the run has just started. Are there any setups that haven't popped yet? I guess in terms of DeFi tokens?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that has well, actually I have one really interesting thing to share with you guys. Let me see if I can pull this up before I forget. I would say that the run up has absolutely not just started, but I mean, the run up has been going on for a while now. I would be careful with any of your positions, when things go like avalanche from $3 to $60 in a month. I mean, that's real fast, and something is certain to pop. But I think the thing is, right now it still seems to be alt season. Things still seem to be performing, and actually have some data showing that. So let me share my screen here super quick. So we actually built this proprietary metric internally. That's basically our version of, is it alt season or is it not? And so basically, if the line, if you're below this 0 line, that means Bitcoin outperforms alt. If you're above the blue line, that means alt outperform Bitcoin. And this blue and green line is our prediction on what will be outperforming, and the orange line is what actually happened. And so we ran this out for about 2 weeks, and we predict for the next 2 weeks or so, this is a few days old, but our prediction is that it will continue to be alt season. And not just that, alts are going to outperform Bitcoin even more in the next week or so. Is what the data is suggesting to us. And this looks at a bunch of different metrics, but most notably the number of news stories that are actually coming from projects. And we found that's a very strong leading indicator of price movement. So we think that there's still some runs left in these altcoins for sure. I mean, it doesn't look like the alt season is ending anytime soon, or at least not yet. I don't know if that answers the question, but.
It should. All right, cool. Thank you. And if it doesn't, Josh, you can always be reached in the
yes, just tag me. Just tag me. If you guys have any questions, tag Vitalik Margarine. All right. I'll talk to you guys
Later, Josh.
All right, Josh, thanks. So one thing we wanted to bring up during the AMA that we think is great, and it's a credit to the community, is we've just eclipsed 1,000 members. We've been building this business for quite some time. There were several months of development and research that went into it before we went live only 3 months ago. And in 3 months, up to 1,000 members, that's incredible growth. And we owe all of that to our community ambassadors, who are led by Weston. Trading Nichols is one of them, and the community itself. because it's all been through word of mouth. We don't do any advertising. We don't do any real marketing. And so we just want to thank you, the community, for making this possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and to that point, this growth has forced us to, not forced us, but allowed us to bring on a few more community ambassadors. Dan McCormack, Calvin Cam, Hawk Spirit Weaver, and Patricio. We're all really happy they decided to join us. They're some of the most vocal and active members in the community. They've been there, some of the longest members we've had. So we're really glad to have them as part of the Trade the Chain team. I know Weston is, thank you for, is excited to be working with them, especially Hawk, our resident comedian. And yeah, it's been a great start to the business. It's been a great 90 days, and here's to at least 90 months more, or whatever, 90 years more. Hey, I ran out of words. But so we're going to go on now to Alex to explain the 1 hour projection, because a lot of you have been asking about that and how that works. So Alex is going to go over that real quickly.
Absolutely. So when whenever you guys have any issues that a lot of you put them into the community, these questions, or you go to a DM that is to an ambassador, and that's fine, but a lot of them come to support@tradethechain.com, which goes into a centralized help desk that we all see as well. And one of the really common questions is the 1 hour projection, and we've gotten a lot of new members since I last did this in AMA, and so I'm going to do it again. We have the new Academy videos almost finished loaded up, which will have this as well. So I'm going to share my screen here. And let's see. Boom. Okay. So everybody can see the coin screener page?
Yep.
Okay, guys. So basically what you're doing, what the 1 hour projection is, and let's see if there's anything fun on deck here. Ooh, IOTX and VeChain. VeChain's actually been on quite a parabolic run as of late, and so it's been high on the sentiment. So keep an eye on it. Tezo's finally up there. Okay, so what we have here is 3 numbers. We have the left, the middle, and the right, and we have this little bar which shows color. So how this works is it's an aggregate of all sentiment data that we're pulling in, putting it into a 1 hour price projected range. This price projection, by the way, is not static. So it's not 1 hour from right now. It is going to change every couple of minutes as the data updates itself when it normalizes into the system. So as of right now, it is projecting IOTX to be up 24.73% on the 1 hour high end, and the bottom range down 2.17%. A lot of people get tripped up with this middle number. This is the mean, the average mean. And what this does is it is currently weighted to the top half of this equation. So the overall average of all 3 of these numbers is this bar, and how long that bar is going to the right-hand side. Okay. The 24 is the top projected range. The 2 is the bottom projected range of price in the 1 hour. And the middle is the mean average. All of it together equals this bar length and color. Just to give you an idea, here's what it looks like on the bottom half of the range. So it's red and heavy to the bottom. And this is, we have a bunch of different scores going into this dashboard or produced on this dashboard, like the long-term sentiment, the hourly, the daily, all these scores, relative tweet volume and such. We're collecting all this data, and that's how it's projecting it to this rolling 1 hour projection, which is accurate plus 90% of the time. So it's very, very solid. It's been in use with hedge funds. This exact API data feed that we are feeding into here has been used with the institutional side for the last 2.5 years.
Awesome. Thanks, Alex. A few people, Clay and Thomas, have asked, questions that are kind of related to investment advice in the Q&A. We really can't give investment advice. We're not fiduciaries. Alex and I come from a traditional securities background. We worked in traditional finance, but our licenses, we don't have licenses anymore. They expire after a couple of years if you're not still in the industry. So we really can't offer investment advice. What I can tell you is that we have a daily webinar Trade the Chain, and we go over the markets, what's behind coin movements, price movements, news that's happened, and also offer insights into how we view them and coins that we've personally invested in. I think that's about as close as we can come to answering Clay, your question, and Thomas's question.
I do have a way for people. He did mention DCA, which is dollar cost average, folks, and I do have a way of showing him how members can kind of use our dashboard in order to locate dollar cost average targets, and I'll do that real quick if we have time.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so the name disappeared off the question board. I don't know who it was, but this is one of the things that is useful about this. And Rob speaks about this at Digital Asset News. He does some of this. I do some of this. If you go out and you look at the ascending portion of the 1 hour projection or the ascending portion of an hourly sentiment score on something that you like, for instance, if I'm looking here, I like Kava. Okay, so I'm a Kava guy. There's a couple of people here that are StormX guys. If you're seeing this hitting a bearish sentiment momentum right now, it's one of those things where you can pick and choose to DCA, where you'll have a more favorable entry price into the position than if you were just to do it at, say, a set time every day or one time every week. This lets you kind of finite when that entry position is going to be into DCAing at the lowest end of the volatility trend. That's my two. Oh, and one piece of that's not financial advice, stay away from like tomato coin and stuff. Okay.
Thanks, Alex, for that. And just to clarify, Alex was not endorsing members buying Kava Coin or StormX, despite the fact that I do hold StormX myself, in full disclosure. All right, cool. So we now have Weston's Trading Corner. For our newer members, Weston each week goes over 3 of his most profitable trades off of the sentiment analysis that he does, or off of the SIGDEV alerts that he gets through the chat, the community. So this week he's going over trades he made in Bitcoin, Strong, and GRT. Weston, take it away.
Perfect. Thank you, Ryan. So yeah, quite an exciting week, I think, for everybody in the cryptoverse, crypto economy. Just crazy, starting with Monday. So I'll start with Bitcoin. Obviously, Tesla dropping the bomb. I hopped in with all basically, my dry powder right away, and that was I think it was 20% gain or 19% gain on the 24-hour, and it's just held really. So that I imagine a lot of people entered too, but great trade. Not much more to say about it. Strong was a SIGDEV alert that we received on 9:38 p.m. I believe on Monday, or correct me if I'm wrong here, guys, Tuesday. But I entered within 1 minute. Stayed in the position for about 6 hours or so, exited for 20% gain, which would paid for the entire annual membership for a year. And that was just the one trade with Strong. And then last is GRT, a project I love personally. Graph.
You took that on the listing alert, the TTC listing alert back on December 18th, and took that for 200+%. There was a graph that we showed everybody. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So it's been very kind to me. The token, the project. Yeah. The SIGDEV was great. But
I think that was your most profitable trade in such a short period of time, right?
I think it was actually. It's hard because some of them I've done over 100% in like 40 minutes. So you could argue theoretically, yeah, the graph was 200 or 300%, but that was a day. So I don't know, it's good problems to have.
Indeed,
but
it is.
You know what I mean? Like 100% in an hour. Well, what is that? That's 2,400% if you extrapolate that in a day. But so yeah, the graph I saw trending. Again, sentiment. That's what we do. That's what we're good at. And I know fundamentally it's a great project. I think it's going to grow to be one of the top market caps personally, because of the technology is so critical, being able to query blockchain data. And I think it was up 80% yesterday. So I got in and just rode that wave, rode the sentiment wave.
That's awesome. Man. That's great.
Still sitting up there. Yeah. So yeah, great week. I hope some of the members had some similar gains.
I benefited from Voyager going up. I saw the sentiment, packed my bags up a little bit more than I had before, and able to ride that sentiment up. It was nice.
Yes,
so
ride the wave.
Absolutely. Trading Nichols, for those of you who don't know, is one of our most active, most popular members. And he's one of our OG community ambassadors, and we're really excited to have him share something he's noticed on the platform over the past, I don't know, what did you say, month or week?
I've been tracking this for about a month.
Okay, great, excellent. Floor is yours.
So we talk about the SIGDES. Everyone's after that really fast. I want to make money really fast right now, which is fine, but we can't control what SIGDES are going to come, right? So I'd like everyone to be encouraged to look at the median returns on the 1 week from the TTI, not just the 1 day. So like if you get into a coin that's not very special that hour and it's going to drop back off, sell it, of course. But then you have an opportunity to get in again and gain even more on the week than you do on the day. It's all available in the TTC portal.
It's a great
I don't know
insight.
if I can share my screen to show it.
That is a great insight. Thanks for that. Jeff Baker, Alex, just asked, not to cut off your thought, but any general tips on how and when to scale out of positions as they increase? And how can the dashboard help with making these decisions?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually was doing something with a member today, and I was showing them how I utilize the dashboard for that exact question. And one of the things, I'm going to share my screen again. So what happens when I look at SIGDEVs, and this is actually our sentiment on the screen, on the screener page, and this is actually something that maybe if we have a couple minutes, I could just run through again since we have so many new members.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So this is how I trade the sentiment screen. These trades that I do go anywhere from 30 minutes up to 3 days, generally in length. And it also helps me pick the ones where I want better entry points into the position. And this is going to be the volatility of the coin as it's happening. So if I was to pick one, let's say even coin. Nah, I don't like that. Oh, I like Origin Trail. I do. I've liked Origin Trail. It's been hitting the top of the high sentiment charts here for quite some time, a couple months actually. I've been tracking it for a while. The first thing I do is I go to the descending layout. I look at the top 10 or 12, and I've been doing this long enough where I get an eyeball and see which 2 or 3 I want to pay attention to. So track Origin Trail here is the first one I like. The first thing I look at is 1 hour projection. I like the 7% to the high. I like the very low bottom end at 0.5%. And I like the overweight at 3.67% on the 1 hour projection. From here, I go right. I go to the relative tweet volume. I like it to be relatively, 90% is basically showing us that there's a lot of chatter happening, a lot of noise on it. And remember, noise can be either detrimental or positive. You just got to identify which, but this is like event-driven trading right here. So 90% positive over the last 20 days. I like that. I like 106% on the relative trading volume. The reason I like 106%, it's showing me that there's market participants in the order books right now for track. And that gives me great liquidity feeling as well if I'm going to enter this position. From here, I go to the daily sentiment. I don't care about the long-term sentiment because I'm not going to be in here long-term. I like the daily. Now, bullish at 74 on the score is pretty high for a TTC dashboard. It's a very positive note. For very bullish on the hourly at 90 is extremely good, and it's extremely rare. And folks, if you don't know how we derive these daily and hourly sentiments, you can just click on the question marks here and it'll pop up how we score those through the data. So from the daily and the hourly sentiment, which are both in agreement with me, I then move to the 24-hour, okay? The 24-hour change is 10%. There's not a lot of volatility in that price over the last 24 hours. And then the next thing I look at is the 1-hour change. Now, the higher the 1-hour change, the more volatility is going to appear in the books on that. I tend to favor anything around 10 or 12 for the 1-hour and below, so that I can get a proper entry point. But this is where I decide if I'm going to either increase my position or hold back and let what I have in play keep going. And that's my little...
Or move on to the charts.
Or move on to the charts for affirmation. That's another thing, folks, is that if you guys have any sort of knowledge in TA, if you want to be able to get affirmation on a decision you're making, is to go to the charts and get that affirmation. Sometimes I don't do it. So I know a lot of the founders of a lot of the projects that are listed on TTC and their teams. So I have a little more fundamental insight into certain tokens over others. And if I am following one of those tokens, I will strictly sentiment trade it, because if I go to the charts, I may talk myself out of that trade, and I don't want to talk myself out of the trade.
Can I add on something on that, Alex?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually really powerful. Most of my profit gains, the consistent every day, not the SIGDEV, not the special circumstance, is because with sentiment trading, I know when to stay in the trade for higher profits. I know better times to hold for longer. I was selling too soon before TTC.
Yeah. And here, I mean, here's another one. Folks, when you select a position to enter based on the sentiment screening page, sentiment, as a rule of thumb, generally it generally front runs price action. Okay, so if you have sentiment that is starting to rise, the price is going to follow shortly after. Vice versa as well. When sentiment starts to go negative, the price starts to go negative shortly after, because sentiment is driving the price. It's a popularity contest, crypto, and you got to remember that. This isn't like the equities market where, you know, if you're looking at Bank of America stock, you know that they have a liquidation value that's intrinsic to their pencils and desks that they can sell off in a liquidation sale. You don't have that here. So the sentiment, it's all about who's popular at what time, right? We got to love our boy Petruccio, who's in the webinar right now. He's one of our ambassadors. He loves ADA. I think Petruccio keeps the sentiment up on ADA all by himself. But but it is a popularity contest, and remember that price follows the sentiment. So while you are in your position and you're tracking this, you look at this 1-hour projected range, which is rolling. And as it rolls and starts to roll down towards neutral or possible bearish territory, you're getting ahead of the price curve. And maybe it's time to de-risk your position in there. Just wanted to kind of put that out there.
Thanks for
Yeah.
that, Alex.
Can I add one thing?
Sure, go ahead.
So Alex, as you're talking about that, I thought this might just help resonate with a lot of people. You know, when we're talking about sentiment analysis, right? So crypto assets are a new asset class. And so when Alex is saying you're hearing this before the price moves, it's kind of like, you know, how certain animals will fly south before an earthquake, you know, is going to come or something. And they just have a sense. That's what this is you're getting a signal prior to the event occurring. So take advantage of it and pay attention.
Yep. And you know, what I was saying earlier, just prior to Weston here, is that crypto is not void of fundamental analysis. There's plenty of projects like Aave, Cardano. You know, you hear us talk about Voyager. These are all projects that have great fundamental values to them. They're projects and teams. You know, you look at things like StormX. StormX, it's a give and take. I don't know exactly if there's fundamentals. I hear there's a lot of like their business is powered on affiliate links and this and that. So it's a little shaky to me. I listen, I think we traded, full disclosure, I traded StormX. I think Ryan may have traded
As did
StormX.
I. Yeah.
Yeah, I did it on hype. But when I go into projects like Cardano or Aave or Voyager, I'm doing it on the team and, you know, the projects that there's real deployment behind. So don't hate me and be like, Alex, what do you mean there's no fundamental analysis? There's of course there's good projects out there. I'm just saying the majority of it is a popularity contest.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, one thing that I constantly point out on the Trade the Chain show that we do on a daily basis, that's our markets analysis show. Pay attention to the sentiment scores, because often right before there's a price jump, there's a spike in sentiment, right? And that's exactly why I traded StormX. I saw a spike in sentiment. I jumped in, held it for 24 hours. Then I jumped out and I made 162% on my investment. That was strictly based on hype. Crypto is so event driven. It's so news cycle dependent at times. Look at the effect Elon Musk is having on Bitcoin, on Dogecoin. You can see that happening. You can see that momentum building in real time on Trade the Chain before the price jumps.
And Ryan, you didn't have to do any research or anything. You just saw that on the sentiment.
I trusted the system. I mean, I've also, you don't win every trade, and we're not telling you you're going to win every trade, but more often than not, you're going to have a somewhat positive outcome if you pay attention to the sentiment, you understand how to interpret it, and that's what we're here for. We're here to help you. And Clay, that question you asked about how to get the most out of our site, you know, we have a member resource center. We do coaching calls with members as well. Weston does a lot of those. Maybe we can get you on a Zoom call with Weston after you look at the member resource center, and we can help answer any questions on a one-to-one basis.
We're actually tomorrow. We're doing an 8-person coaching session, and I told the community that the other day. So it's going to be one tomorrow, and it's going to be one also during the week. And so the first 8 signups in the TTC announcements. Hey, Clay, I just saw that in the chat. So I'm putting that literally, I'm going to go from this AMA to the TTC announcements. I'm going to put tomorrow's registration up. The first 8 people in that are the people in the coaching call. Okay.
Exactly. And John Miller had another great question. How long do you guys generally spend watching the sentiment on any given coin? Weston, you trade the most out of all of us. What do you say there?
Honestly, it depends what you are going to, what is your plan when you're entering it, is the first question. But always, like I'm watching it constantly. So, you know, if you want to be successful, that's what you have to do. If you're looking at a couple days, you can let it sit, maybe check on it every couple hours. But if I'm entering an hour trade, I'd watch it to the minute.
Nichols, how long do you look at the sentiment on any given coin?
I check it periodically because I'm not as worried about that with my TA skill. So I spend time watching the chart. When I start to see something I don't understand, I go back to the sentiment because that's sees beyond just the price action.
Gotcha. And Mark, just to answer your question about where the coachings are announced, we do that in the TTC announcements channel. So
I'm actually going to give everybody a heads up who's in the AMA right now, is that I'm typing it right now that I'm doing a Zoom coaching session tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern time. First 8 people to sign up are in it, and then I'll announce another one for during the week as well. And we'll go from there.
Okay, excellent. So Mark, keep an eye on the, and Clay, keep an eye on the announcements channel and sign up, and we'll, the first 8 people that join us, they're the ones who get the coaching tomorrow. But we'll try and do these calls more often as need necessitates. Cool. So one thing that we've been teasing out for a while is the community migration and upgrade. And while Slack has served us well in the early days of our site and of the platform, we quickly realized that it wouldn't scale out and be as interactive and feature rich as we need it to be and as our members want it to be. Our members helped us realize this. So we're migrating the community this weekend to Discord. This is something that we've been building for a while. It took some time to get the server the way that we wanted it to work. Weston put a lot of work into it. Alex put a lot of work into it. I put a lot of work into it. And we think we have a great product. It's interactive, it's feature rich, it's scalable, it's much more defined in terms of what room is what and what we hope to achieve with the community. And that migration is happening very soon. And Alex, I'm going to let you take it from here.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is actually a big deal, but I don't want anybody to feel overwhelmed about it. This is how it's going to work. It's going to start at 12 noon Eastern time tomorrow. What's going to happen is, and we've had ambassadors, and we also collected a dozen test subjects from the membership who've been in there all week finding bugs for us to fix and everything like that. This is a fully spec'd out Discord server. 12 o'clock noon Eastern time tomorrow, we are going to start the migration. What's going to happen is that the link in the dashboard that says TTC community is where you have to go through. And when you click on that and it takes you through to the community section, that's when the server is going to authenticate you as a member and you're in. So instead of that taking you to Slack when you click on that nav bar in the dashboards to the community, it's now going to take you to our new Discord server. Now, we don't want anybody to get lost. Okay, first of all, if you lose operational control of everything on your computer, you can always email us at support@tradethechain.com. But also, we're going to keep Slack here. So the address for Slack, and we'll post this as well, is tradethechain.slack.com. The community will be there for the members, and we will be going into it and sort of hand-holding anybody who has trouble into Discord. So nobody's going to get lost, all right? It's just, we're on a field trip, and we got to get you from the museum to the lunch break. I don't know. But we will, and it will be good. So thank you, Weston, very much for spearheading the test campaign and trading Nichols for trying to break it for the last week.
Yeah, we had the ambassadors in there for the last week or so, as Alex mentioned, and they've really run it to the paces. They found a few bugs that we're happy we ironed out and exterminated, and we're very happy with where it's at, and we think we've put together a real streamlined process for that. But if there are any issues, as Alex said, please reach out to Weston, reach out to Trading Nichols, reach out to myself, reach out to Alex. You can find us on Slack, you can find us via the help desk, and we're here to help you, okay? And we've put together some content, some literature around the differences between Discord and Slack, some of the features that are available in that. We won't get into that now because we're running out of time in the AMA. We'll do a whole other AMA on Discord if necessary. But I think you're going to like what you find, and we're very proud of it, and we hope you will be too. And we're really excited for the community to make this jump. This is a huge milestone in Trade the Chain. So
I just posted the coaching session for tomorrow. If anybody's interested, sign up. It'll be more than likely me and Weston providing that to the members. So I appreciate it, unless Weston falls asleep because he doesn't sleep anymore. And one lucky winner from tomorrow's session will get Ryan's lovely sweater as a prize. No, I'm just joking about that.
The dude.
Yeah.
All right. I guess unless anyone has any further questions, we can wait a minute for that. I think that's about it, right, Alex?
Yeah, just again, reminder, guys, tomorrow's the Discord migration. I know there's new members who might be in the AMA who just joined. They're like, wow, I just got into Slack. It's okay. We're all here for you. Please reach out to us in any way possible. Just so, listen, everybody knows my email is my first name. So it's alex@tradethechain.com. You can email me, DM, whatever it may be. All of our emails are our first name. Except for Weston's, who is Richard Hart at Trade the Chain.
So yeah, I'm
just-
Ryan at tradethechain.com. Email me. I'm very responsive via email, probably more than anywhere else. So
Yeah.
please do not hesitate.
I
to reach
love Patricio. Patricio is like the cop of all police officers, man. I watched the community. He's like, he said in thread to respond to the coaching. So yeah,
No, mine is not Richard Hart. It is Weston at Trade the Chain. Seriously, don't hesitate. Like we respond, and Ryan's serious. He responds like that to email. So feel free.
absolutely,
I'm on
absolutely.
it. All right, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. Just a reminder, we do these every Friday,
Friday.
usually at noon Eastern. Yes, Alex?
And if you missed our big VGX live stream with Steve Ehrlich today, you can, that was posted in TTC announcements as well. VGX to the moon. All right.
Okay. What time is today's episode of Trade the Chain coming out?
Trade the Chain, today's episode of Trade the Chain will be out at 5:15 for a premiere.
Awesome. We have a live chat along with that episode as well when it premieres. So the hosts and a lot of our friends join us, and it's a lot of fun. It's the best way to end your week. It usually involves a lot of wine or a lot of some other alcohol, at least on my end. So join us. It's our Trade the Chain happy hour.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.